Second normal form. In this normal form, there are two conditions. That is, the table must be in first normal form and there should be no partial dependency. What is the partial dependency? We will discuss it. But for an instance, we have taken this score table which contains score ID, student ID, subject ID, marks and teacher. And let's know from where this table come from. Initially we were having the two tables, that is student and subject. And then after we combined some attributes from these tables and form this score table, which basically contains the score of the student. Now looking at the score table, we have the score ID. This score ID is unique and this can act as candidate key and primary key. And there is one more way, that is combining the student ID and subject ID together to form a candidate key or the primary key. Just because, let us see, if I would tell you that what is the subject ID for the student having the student ID 10, you will get confused. Which one? This one or this one? And if I would tell you that what is the student ID of a student whose subject ID is 1, you will get confused. Which one? This one or this one? But together they can uniquely identify each and every row in the table. So for the purpose of fetching the data, we can use student ID and subject ID together as candidate key. This can also be a case of having the candidate key like this. Now here is the twist. The twist lies in the teacher. Okay, you can see here this particular teacher attribute, it depends upon the subject ID alone. Only the subject ID is enough to determine this attribute, just because each teacher is assigned to each subject. Okay, and here you can see that Mr. J for 1, Mr. C for 2, and again Mr. J for 1, Mr. C for 2, and Mr. P for 4. So we can say that only this particular attribute, that is the subject ID, can determine the teacher alone. Okay, but together student ID and subject ID forms a candidate key which determines all the other attributes in the table. So the problem arises by this attribute. Okay, and here you can see how it is. We have the candidate key as student ID and subject ID together, and this subject ID, which is a subset of this candidate key, is going to derive the teacher attribute, which is the non-prime attribute. Non-prime attribute means which is not taking the part in making of candidate key. Here the prime attribute would be student ID and subject ID. Fine. So this concept is called partial dependency, and there should not be any partial dependency in second normal form. We have to avoid it. So to remember these conditions, we have a short statement, that is, if LHS, that's left hand side, is a proper subset of candidate key, which is this, and right hand side is equals to non-prime attribute, that's this, then it is a partial dependency and it should not be there. To avoid this, we have to separate this table into two different tables like this. But don't forget to map them, and we have mapped them using subject ID here and here. Here we have given the teacher to the subject name. Okay, and subject ID to the teacher can easily determine. Okay, and here all the other attributes are on score table. Thank you.